All right, here we are, second series of the day, only an hour and a half after. Nice, relaxing break for the two of us. We've got HellRaisers and Team Kinguin here in a best of three. This is game one, and HellRaisers, they've picked up Earthshaker and Mirana, Kinguin, Nyx, and Batrider. So, take a look.
You know, Earthshaker, really solid first pick from HellRaisers. Mirana also sort of a solid pick. So Mirana can be run as both a core and a support. And in either role, she's just a difficult hero to kill. And whenever you land a high duration arrow, you know, it usually results in a kill. So HellRaisers, they decide to pick up 2 stuns. Kinguin also pick up 2 disablers. And these 2 heroes, you know, Nyx and Batrider, they're both really good at looking for pickoffs, and it gives a lot of flexibility to Kinguin's future lineup. You know, now that they have 2 of their catching heroes out of the way, they can focus their cores on more utility and damage. And so, if you're HellRaisers, you look at the Nyx and the Batrider, and maybe you look for ways to prevent potential pickoffs, or maybe heroes that can help save pickoffs. Heroes like Oracle, Legion Commander do pretty well against lineups that are reliant on catching you with Nyx and Lasso.
Yeah, and we've seen a couple of Nyx games where they try to set up globally, but with Ancient Apparition Band and Nature's Prophet, not going to be too similar, but they can set up the Nyx and the Batrider together.
Yep. I mean, whenever you play against Nyx and Batrider, you're kind of scared at certain points in the game because, you know, the Nyx is missing or the Batrider is missing, or maybe other heroes are missing. You're maybe thinking, hey, gotta back up a little. But HellRaisers don't have that same level of catch right now, just because the Nyx provides a lot of scouting information, and so HellRaisers have a lot of options still. You know, they can decide to pick heroes that save and try to counter-initiate against Team Kinguin, or maybe pick heroes that allow for a vision advantage, so you can try to prevent the enemy team from catching you in the first place. But they pick up Crystal Maiden. I haven't seen this hero a whole lot. I think a couple of months ago before TI, she got her move speed nerfed, but she's still, counterintuitively, she's one of the strongest early game heroes. Both because her aura helps her teammates stay, you know, high on mana, but also because the level 1 versions of her spells are actually quite strong. So that makes her good at catching heroes like Batrider and Nyx early on in the game. Of course, there's always a situation in the mid game where the Crystal Maiden just becomes food for the enemy team. But we'll see how it goes for HellRaisers.
Some quick picks coming in from both teams, Lifestealer and then Necrophos. I was just about to ask where Mirana's going to be in this draft lineup. I was thinking possibly mid, but now you've got a Lifestealer who needs that mobility, who needs that ability to get into the fights, and you're looking at Earthshaker with a blink and possibly Mirana with a leap. That leaves one more for HellRaisers, and then, you know, now they got to worry about this Necro that made it so far into the draft.
Yep. And that Necrophos pick was fast. I'm wondering if they had it pre-selected, or if their captain's just really quick, because that Necrophos is really good against Lifestealer, because obviously you can go Ethereal and the Lifestealer can't hit you, and Lifestealer's not a hero that normally buys Diffusal Blade, although certainly he's probably going to want one this game.
5 seconds remaining.
And so Kinguin's lineup looks like it counters HellRaisers a lot more, just because they have the global, and then they have the favorable core matchup right now, Necrophos against Lifestealer. And it also looks like it's a lot easier for Kinguin to go for pickoffs. That being said, HellRaisers, they have a scary lineup as well. You know, Earthshaker and Mirana provide some of the highest duration stunning in the game, and you know, Lifestealer provides some of the most burst damage, but Kinguin do have the global silence, and so I imagine HellRaisers is going to be playing around that a lot, you know, avoiding these 5-on-5 team fights where the global silence is super potent, and instead going for pickoffs with the Lifestealer, trying to chain stun the Necrophos as much as possible to prevent him from going Ethereal.
I feel with that silencer pick for Kinguin that HellRaisers, you know, they're looking, if the global silence is timed right, it could completely turn over a HellRaisers attempt at fighting. I just they're going for Echo Slam. They're trying to, you know, they have some big ultis in both Crystal Maiden and Earthshaker. You can't get that Starstorm out on Mirana. You can't Rage as Lifestealer. Like, I just feel like Kinguin, they're ready to fight once it comes down to it.
Yep, and that's a weird thing too. I'm curious about the Lifestealer pick because Lifestealer is not a hero that's supposed to do well against global or silences in general, just because he doesn't want to buy an extra form of magic immunity or silence removal since he has one. But you sort of need one when you play against silencers, since if you don't get your rage off in the fight, you're in a lot of trouble. And Kinguin kind of take advantage of the fact that their team fight is sort of a lot easier to execute, and sort of the fact that HellRaisers don't really have a way to initiate against global silence. So they pick up a hero like Drow, which actually helps their lineup a lot since they do have 4 ranged heroes now, and it also helps them push since HellRaisers don't have a way to get Lifestealer into the fight at the moment. And so that's something they're going to want to solve with their final pick. Just a hero that can help get on top of Team Kinguin's heroes.
So with this lineup from Kinguin, looks as though Silencer is in the 5 spot, Nyx 4, kind of roaming around, Batrider in that off lane. Could they switch the Batrider to a 4 and go Nyx off lane, or is that just not going to work for them?
You totally could. I actually do imagine Kinguin might run some sort of dual lane at first, just to get the roamer level 2. And so we'll see how it goes from there, but certainly Batriders, usually you want the Batrider in this scenario to be the position 3, just because the Batrider needs a blink to do his job, or drums to do his job early in the game, whereas Nyx only needs levels. And so like Batrider scales a lot better in the early game with items, although Nyx is probably the better late game hero.
And then this, especially if HellRaisers look to get that hero that has a blink to help get on top of this team. Could it be a Necrophos Radiance game? Could we see, him just try to block out these heroes from getting in on him and then actually go Broodmother instead?
Yep, sort of a... Can't really call it a cheese pick, but it's a little unconventional, and it actually works really well for HellRaisers here because Kinguin don't exactly have a lot of AoE to deal with the Broodmother. You have the Batrider and maybe Necrophos pulses in a way, but there's not a lot of early game solutions for Brood. Usually you want more lockdown you want to kill the Brood as much as possible in the early game, and if you don't have sufficient lockdown, that's a bit difficult. And so if Bambo does a good job of like managing the sentry wards in the lane so they can't see him, and that they have to rely on dust to kill him, and he positions himself correctly, it's actually quite difficult for Kinguin to kill the Brood. But if they do catch him, then he's pretty much dead, because there is a high damage output from Drow and Silencer.
Yeah, and they have a lot of ways to maybe not lock down these heroes. They do have Reaper Scythe, Lasso, and the stun from Nyx, but they have a good amount with silencing these heroes. And maybe that could be the difference when they try to fight this Broodmother one-on-one.
Yep. This Brood signals to me that HellRaiser's not trying to go for this 5-on-5 kind of lineup. And they shouldn't, because it doesn't work for them with their heroes. They're fighting into global silence, so they want as many pickoffs, and they want to split up the enemy team as much as possible. And that's why I think this Broodmother pick is so brilliant, because Broodmother demands that the enemy team sends another hero to defend the lane against the Broodmother, and she's also good at looking for kills since she does set up so many webs on the enemy side of the base. You can scout out people, you can even put the Lifesteal in the Brood for some of these kills. But most importantly, it gives them a way to split push, and it gives them something that Kinguin have to be afraid of if Kinguin decide to go for this 5-on-5 pushing kind of strategy. But again, Brood always runs the risk that if you fall behind on Brood, it's hard to catch back up.
Yeah.
And so Bramble's gonna have to do a good job in the early game, and if he does do a good job in the early game, I do believe he's gonna take off. Because he's got Crystal Maiden Aura, he's got 2 heroes that benefit a lot from space. Like, Lifestealer wants to have a relatively easy early game. So I believe Brood is a hero that can make that happen. The problem is I don't know if they're quite set on which lanes they want. In fact, it looks like the Brood is going mid. Bit of an interesting decision. but I can dig it. He's gonna be up against the Necrophos mid.
Seconds to battle.
Be interesting to see how well these teams play well with each other. Obviously, HellRaisers have been together for quite some time, except for Sexy Bambo. He came in for Swift Ending. They were Planet Dog right before TI, then they were picked up by HellRaisers, and then before that, I think they were Pro Dota Gaming with Garter, I believe.
Yep.
And, you know, they've been together for a long time, except for Sexy Bambo, and then in Team Kinguin, I don't really know how long they've been playing together. I don't really know them as a team, and we see this fight over by the bottom bounty rune where J4 is trying to run away from El Lizaya. Or El Lisish.
Lisish. And Bambo's in a bit of a weird spot right now, so he set up a web mid, but it doesn't look like he's actually going mid. He's going bottom, and then he placed the web on the bounty rune to fight for the rune, and now his web's on cooldown for 10 seconds, which means also that he only gets one web, which is actually a huge problem for him because you need 2 webs to avoid sentries. And so, fortunately for him, the enemy team doesn't have a
Looks like
a
they're
sentry now. It looks like they're actually...
yeah, they're gonna swap lanes and bring Drow to the top.
Yep.
Take a look over mid as well. J4 takes a shot from Kasor or Kasor.
Yep, there's actually a big rotation coming mid with the Earthshaker.
And they get the Fissure in a really nice spot. Nisha is going to have to try and run away from Kaiser and J4. The big 2-man stun from the Nyx should keep Nisha alive. Arrow not on target, but they still get the first blood. So Kaiser, Milan, and J4 all chase. J4 survives the Nyx onslaught, and they get a first blood coming in early.
Yeah, really good gank from the Earthshaker. I mean, that Fissure was quite on point.
Actually, J4 dies to neutrals, and then they've got the 2-man Fissure Kaiser running away, and does have that salve to heal up and stay in this lane. So let's take a look. The rotation came out from actually both Sexy Bambo and the Drow Exotic Deer. So now you've got Sexy Bambo using, I think, his first web. Did he put a web down bottom? He did. So now he's got 1 web up top.
He's okay though, because this is a one-on-one lane. He's got 2 sentries. The Silencer doesn't have any sentries, and this is actually the matchup they want. HellRaisers, they want the Broodmother against the Drow, and they want the Lifestealer against the Batrider. Okay. And this Batrider should have a tough time against the Lifestealer, since Lifestealer can just rage off the Napalm and the Firefly. And so I think both of these lanes have winning matchups, so Kinguin probably have to focus on making something happen the next couple minutes.
So now they swap lanes again. They bring the Batrider top and move the Drow bottom. How many times can a team realistically swap before it really starts to hurt them?
I mean, it doesn't quite hurt them. I mean, Dota's a game of relativity, right? And so both teams are swapping lanes, which it looks like they're doing so again.
Yeah, meanwhile, mid, Nisha getting quite low, has that heal, not going to be enough to survive. Milan gets that last hit, and now they look towards this silence area. It was the Fissure that hit from Milan, then the follow-up arrow, and there's the follow-up Fissure to kill off this silencer. So HellRaisers, they're up 3-0 quite early.
Yep. And, I mean, looks like HellRaisers are favored to win at the moment. I mean, whenever you have a Drow lineup, you wanna start the game ahead, because you want to be in a position to take advantage of the aura to get ahead, and then you want to be in a position to push towers. It looks like they're behind right now, but they do have a lot of potential to come back, and it looks like they're actually going the Broodmother bottom.
They got the dust, they got the silence. With the gust, they continue to hit away. There's no way Sexy Bambo gets out, even despite getting a very well-placed Fissure from that Earthshaker.
Yep, there's still a lot of kill potential from Kinguin coming out from their lineup, and so I want to see them go for a lot of kills, and then like up until level 10, and then put themselves in a position where the Broodmother can't really pressure them as much. So then the Drow can go for that classic gameplay, which is go for as many objectives as possible, take away map control from the enemy team, and then use the Batrider and Nyx to go for pickoffs. But in order for Kinguin to get there, they have to keep the enemy team. Keep the enemy team's farm down, and then HellRaisers to get in their winning condition. they want to make sure that their brood's in a position to actually pressure the enemy team so that Kinguin don't feel like they can be pushing and going for kills all the time. Since I feel like HellRaisers need a lot more items to end the game than Kinguin. Like their timing takes a lot longer to hit than the enemy team.
So they sent the Drow back up top. Now here with the Nyx up against the Lifestealer. Meanwhile, bottom, Sexy Bambo, he's okay with these lane swaps because now he's starting to farm. He's looking okay at 24-7. How long can you realistically leave this Brood alone?
I mean, I imagine this is going to be the last lane swap for a while since Brood does want to hold onto his webs, and there's actually some action happening up in the top river.
Yeah, Milan trying to go after Lisash. Go with that for now, and Kaiser will get the kill. They get a totem coming in with the Starstorm, as well as that.
Up top, might have a solo kill up here.
Now 33 is in a lot of trouble. Kesor, Exotic Deer, and the Silencer are here. A nice three-man fissure from Milan. 33. They might look to turn it around, but there's the Spike Carapace. And they don't want to really fight into that. You get hit by that Spike Carapace, all of a sudden those Frost Arrows come out. You're in a lot of trouble.
Yep. This is the phase of the game that really confuses me for Necro gameplay. Like, does he sit in the lane? Do people come to him? Up top.
Yeah, Milan trying to go in on the Silencer. There's the Arcane Curse and the last word. Push back Milan, but nothing really more than that.
It feels like Kinguin are just going to wait until they're in a position to push, and they can't really just push the tower. They have to go for a pick off first. So they're probably going to want the Vendetta on the Nyx or a Blink on the Batrider, unless they smoke in and wrap around for a push, because it feels like I feel like Kinguin are in more of a position to want to make something happen than the enemy team. Like HellRaisers is pretty content with their current situation. Broodmother's pressuring bot tower a lot, well, as long as the Batrider's not there, and you know they're farming up on the Lifestealer, and this Drow has to be constantly afraid of gank attempts because it's a lot easier for the Drow to die than it is for the Lifestealer to die. At least until they have a couple more stuns or silences. And you know, if HellRaisers notice that this Necrophos is missing from mid for too long, they'll know something's up.
You talk about how they're waiting for Vendetta or Blink Dagger on the Batrider. I mean, Batrider's a long ways out from that Blink Dagger, and not even level 4 yet is this Nyx, so they could be waiting quite some time. Meanwhile, up top, 33, he actually might grab a kill here on Kaser, but he's got to back off. His Exotic Deer is really hitting him down low. And he just gets out. They get the kill on Kaser. Milan is going to grab that one. The Reaper Scythe on the Brood. Not enough, but they still get the kill. So
it's a bit of an interesting situation from Bambo. I'm not sure if he should have been diving that deep, but I suppose the Batrider also lassoed him, and maybe Bambo wasn't expecting the Necrophos to rotate in, but looks like there was a kill I missed.
Yeah, 33 got that up top.
So that puts Bat in a little bit of a better position, because the risk was always if the Broodmother got so far ahead that no one could really stop her from pushing the lane, but that puts 2 deaths on Bambo now, and he's probably not in the position he wants to be in. I mean, he's 4th highest net worth, but he's quite a bit behind the Necrophos.
Exotic Deer gets
interesting kill from the Drow. Wasn't expecting that to happen.
I was
Looks
looking
like the
over
CM
mid.
just walked in.
Just died.
Just died.
Dust coming out. This is going to be on the little Spiderlings. Not on Broodmother herself, but still gold going the way of this Batrider, so I guess the dust kind of gets paid for.
Yep.
Now they're going to smoke up Nisha and Kesor. They're going to head over bottom. They want to continue to stymie this farm of Sexy Bambo despite him being 3rd or 4th now on the net worth list. So we'll
another hero they have to deal with. The Lifestealer is here. Not much he can do in this situation, but
we'll see if they can fight together. No
Milan is
insatiable
here.
hunger
He's probably
either.
going to be the one to fall.
And they find Milan. There's the Reaper Scythe. And no, he doesn't drop. Fissure hits on 3, but now the lasso's out on Sexy Bambo. Should be an easy kill. Moonlight Shadow not nearly in time. Meanwhile, Silencer goes down to Kaiser, but they look towards getting Kaser, maybe one in return. There's the Starstorm and an easy cleanup for Kaiser. A double kill for him, which is a good consolation prize for losing a couple of heroes.
A bit of an interesting movement from Bambo there. So walk into the fight after his Urshiker was dead, but that was a really good rotation from Kinguin. I mean, they got 2 really good pickoffs. I mean, I think HellRaisers were expecting something to happen because they TP'd the Lifestealer and the Urshiker started moving down there, but I don't think they expected it to happen like that. I mean, Kinguin, they smoked up on top of the hill where the Urshiker couldn't see them, which resulted in that kill happening. And so, looks like both teams are doing the rotatoroo again. You got the Broodmother back top. And Batrider's bottom for the time being, but I think that's because Kinguin haven't decided to do anything yet.
Definitely some interesting musical chairs going on.
Yep.
So, Necro top of the net worth. He's up on this Marana Kaiser by 400, but still, Marana has looked pretty good at 4-0. Meanwhile, the Necrophos has died twice.
I mean, you don't really feel the presence of the Marana right now. I mean, she's top net worth, but part of the reason is you haven't really felt her yet is because she hasn't really made any rotations. There's not a lot of heroes that can set up kills for this Marana, except the Earthshaker, and the Earthshaker's been busy elsewhere, and so looks like they're making that first rotation now.
Yeah, they are looking for that arrow with J4 smoked up. We'll see if they can get anything up top. And
they were under a ward that Dire had placed next to the bounty rune, then, so this gank is a lot harder to make happen, but they will probably get this tower off of this.
oh, wow, great deny, but that could be Paytos' life. Gets away with the Firefly for now, continuing to chase the Sexy Bambo. They won't go in, he'll get the deny and get out, so a good job from that Batrider. Meanwhile, their bottom tier 1 goes down.
Yep, I mean, Kinguin are really happy with that. They wasted the time of 3 heroes, they got the deny. All the while, Silencer is working on his level 6, and it looks like he has it now.
Very interesting that this Nyx is not level 6 yet. Meanwhile, mid again, Silencer drops. That's his 5th death already.
Not the best game for him, but his team's doing relatively alright. 4k net worth ahead. Just trying to take the mid tower. Looks like they'll get it, actually.
Nyx might be in a little bit of trouble. Echo Slam used by Milan. Totem with 33 here. He does stun that Lifestealer and then immediately regrets it. They'll get the kill on the Nyx as well as this tier 1 mid. And that's all tier 1s dead on the side of Kinguin.
Yep. They might catch the Batrider here. Nope. That is 5 heroes in the middle area, and Drow and Necrophos have just been casually farming the whole time. I think they're really waiting for their timing of this level 6 on the Nyx, which he has, and then the Blink on Batrider, who is 400 gold, 500 gold away from it, 400 gold. So Batrider should have that pretty shortly, like in the next minute or 2.
You just got to be careful farming, it looks like. You've got a Broodmother in your jungle, top lane not too safe with the webs on it. Where does he really go to farm this last bit?
Yeah, he can juggle himself for a bit, or he can defend top tower as it pushes in. He's got quite a few options. I mean, he's not super afraid. He's not afraid of just the Broodmother. It's always the Broodmother +1. And so he's okay with farming under his tower because he knows the enemy team isn't going to show up there. And down in the enemy jungle, looks like the CM might... And CM's a kill.
Yeah, Kasor with the Vendetta. It doesn't go in on the Crystal Maiden.
I think they're waiting to go on this Earthshaker.
Yeah, no Fissure, no Totem. Now the Totem's back up. There it is with the Vendetta, and the Stun Arcane Curse is going to slow him up. The body block's not there for Kasor, so the last word, not enough just yet, but now Nyx, one more shot. They will get Milan, and that was a rotation of 3 heroes. So, interesting move, rotating that many heroes.
On the Batrider. They see they have the Lifestealer infested in the Broodmother.
Yeah, they got to see if they can get in deep enough, and they're just gonna pop the lifesteal and just go in on Paytos. They've got the open wounds. They'll hit away. Arrow a little bit off the mark. Now Exotic Deer's here. They try to get the Gust. Dust is gonna come out on the lifestealer, but they just don't have the speed to chase.
That looks like a bit of miscommunication there. I mean, Bambo definitely could have gone in. Same with the Marana, and Bambo backed off, and the Lifestealer came out and ended up running at the Batrider himself. So it was a little bit strange. I wonder if they were like on different wavelengths there.
Kesor is gonna spot the Broodmother. Not sure if he saw Milan, but he's by creep, so they know he's there.
Yep. And they do know the Broodmother's in the area as well. The Nyx caught him for a second and walks through a sentry, so now the enemy team knows he's there as well.
So you've got this Blink Dagger now on the Batrider. Who else just picked up a Blink? I thought I saw. Crystal Maiden, bottom. Ripped up by Nisha. Another Reaper Scythe for another kill for this Necrophos, top of the net worth. Has himself that Hood and the Veil. Working on a 4-staff next. Take a look up top. Exotic Deer. There's the Blink. Echo Slam, he was the man who got the Blink. The Global Silence a little late, but that stops the Broodmother from continuing to go in. Milan's not going to get hit by that stun. The Fissure comes out on 2, but the Firefly damage is too much for him to handle, and Milan will drop as well.
Really good Global Silence there. I mean, that was the counter initiation I was talking about in the draft. There's really not much. HellRaisers don't have a lot of ways to deal with this Global Silence. I mean, it totally shuts down their chain stunning from the Earthshaker, and really none of these heroes, at least until they get Mantas and whatnot, have a way to deal with it.
Ooh, Gust actually comes out onto the Broodmother. There is the Dust, slowed up by these Frost Arrows, stunned by Nyx. This is a dead Broodmother.
Might lose his spiders as well.
Yeah, this Firefly, the Dust coming in, the Blink forward to burn him up. I haven't lost his top batch just yet. That was a depressing stun attempt.
Yeah, Nyx Impale's the hardest spell to land in the game, in my opinion. Not actually, but it's up there.
Gonna hit those skill shots.
Yeah, skill shots. Definitely a League of Legends spell.
So,
and so smoke's coming out from both teams.
Yeah, 4 heroes for the side of Kinguin, and I think
Seems gonna want to place a ward here. Her smoke's gonna get broken. Batrider's gonna blink in on the Earthshaker.
Blink, Lasso, Moonlight Shadow. Last word is out on Milan, trying to run away. Let's see if he can. The Flame Break is there. The Dust is out on the Nyx. They hit the arrow, but now with that Starstorm hitting on the Nyx, Spike Carapace with the stun. Reaper Scythe. It'll be 2 kills for Team Kinguin.
Sorry, I'm yawning a bit. I mean, both teams, they were smoking for each other. Looks like the Batrider reacted first. I mean, both teams were looking up for kills, but I don't think the Earthshaker was expecting to see anyone there, and the ward probably spotted it a little bit late, and so the Batrider made the first move and got on top of the Earthshaker.
I think Kinguin have found their stride, and I do believe that HR might be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The Kinguin's lineup is a lot better at this stage in the game than HR's, and really what where HR needed to be was the Broodmother being like totally out of control, so that, you know, Kinguin don't feel okay with making this trade, because, you know, they're just trading tier 2s, but it doesn't even look like Bambo's even going to get this top tier 2, and so, you know, Kinguin's going to be in this cycle of pushing towers, maybe getting Roche, resetting their lanes, and then doing it all over again.
And Brood is actually under a sentry ward anyway. Kesor is here. Spike Carapace will hit just the one Spiderling.
Yep. I mean, you have Drow farming this really safe area next to the Dire Ancients. And so he's fine with farming there, even though he's in vision. Well, he doesn't know he's in vision, but he's fine because he knows the enemy team has to make a huge rotation to come kill him. I mean, you'll notice when the Earthshaker is missing for a while, since Earthshaker is the only initiation coming from Kinguin. Whereas Kinguin have 2 ways to initiate. They have both the Nyx and the Batrider, and so, you know, HellRaisers have to watch their positioning a lot more carefully than Kinguin.
Actually, a two-man smoke coming out from Kinguin on Kesor and Paytos. And they do have the damage to take out these heroes. You start with the Vendetta, you get a lasso coming in. They can find someone by themselves, they'll get the kill, but they also have the Necro Bottom.
Yep. This Necro Bottom is probably throwing off HellRaisers a little bit, and it looks like there's going to be an initiation here.
Oh, Echo Slam missed! That got out. They're going to get the Reaper Scythe on Milan. He's immediately killed off. Kinguin, they're looking pretty good. 33 is going to clean up Kesor with the help of Kaiser, but now he's lassoed up with 4 heroes on Kinguin trying to kill him. He'll try to TP out. Not going to get it. 3 die on HellRaisers just for the Knicks. And, oof, that was just interestingly poor from Milan going in for that Echo Slam and missing.
Yep, I mean, you could also say that was a really good blink timing from the Bat Rider. I mean, I don't know if he was intentionally trying to dodge an Echo or if he just decided, hey, I should Firefly on top of the Crystal Maiden now, but it really worked out for them. I mean, it was sort of a weird fight for them to take in the first place because 2 of their cores are really far away.
For a second, too, I wasn't sure if he used it. I don't know if it happened to you, but he used it and there was no sound. I don't know if that was because Global Silence immediately followed, but I would, had to definitely check the cooldown. I was like, did he use it? I saw it. I'm not sure.
I wonder if Global stops sounds.
Ooh, arrow onto this Bat Rider. Starstorm will come down. Kaiser should be able to clean this up and will. Marana, definitely one of those heroes that can get out of control. Maybe that's the thing they need on the side of HellRaisers to really open up this game again for them.
Yeah, certainly. It looks like she's in the vision of the Knicks. Fortunately for her, she's haste ruined. I mean, what HellRaisers really need is they need to be in a position to split push, and certainly Marana and Broodmother are both the heroes that do the split pushing for them, and actually going for a rush attempt right now. Roshan going down pretty quickly. I don't think Kinguin know this is happening.
Yeah, it's non-contested Roche. Aegis on Kaiser. Bit of gold going their way as well. That's pretty nice when you've got a Lifestealer trying to finish off Blade Mail and Broodmother really trying to get to that BKB.
Yep.
No Orchid on Broodmother, going for the BKB. Oh, stunned up, dusted, and this is trouble again for Sexy Bambo. Reaper Scythe just hits, and Sexy Bambo taken out for over a minute. They try to get one of their own in return, but there's Global Silence. Nisha still has to run. Kaiser doing a lot of damage, but he'll be stunned up by Kesor. They still continue to chase. Echo Slam comes out. This one finds a hero, but they're not getting any of these kills due to that Echo Slam just yet. On the side, 33 did kill Kesor. Now Exotic Deer's made his way into the fight. Milan dies. There's the lasso. He'll hold this Marana in place for a moment, but he will die off afterwards, and they'll take out Nisha. So all of a sudden, HR, they look pretty good in this fight. They'll still continue to try and chase Exotic Deer. Force Staff to the low ground. And Exotic Deer might have gotten out, as well as this Silencer safely. Arrow not going to hit. Exotic Deer with the illusion. Gus comes out to buy some time, but there's the Diffusal Blade. Exotic Deer pikes again to a different level. Now on the high ground, and 33 forced to use that rage and back off. Wow. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, pretty good fight for both teams. I think they traded pretty evenly, especially with that Aegis being expended by the Marana, which kind of puts HellRaisers in a, I guess, obviously in a worse position, but I think they really wanted to use that Aegis to get much more than what they just got. Instead, you know, they get a couple of kills. They don't manage to kill the Drow, but Kinguin are definitely, even though Kinguin are behind in net worth, I think they're definitely in the better position right now just because their pickoff is a lot stronger, their team fight's a lot stronger, and, you know, there's still a lot of towers on the map for them to take even though they don't have the Aegis.
Side of Kinguin, they sustain pretty well, too. I mean, they're going to get this Radiance on Necro. It seems like Nisha's just the hardest target to kill for them.
Yep. Well, they do have the Diffusal on Lifestealer, but this Force Staff is doing a lot of work for Necrophos, and I mean, Necrophos is like an exceedingly difficult target to kill, especially when he has regen stacks going on from killing heroes.
Do they have to find Nisha alone? He's about to have Radiance. He's just going to become tougher to kill.
You know, ideally they find him alone, right? But Kinguin probably know that, hey, if we're grouped up, we're a lot stronger because we have global silence,
boy.
you know.
Up top, they've got the Brood, and they get the stun from Kasor. There's the lasso, the silence, the kill. They'll team up to get this kill onto Sexy Bambo once again, and with that, Peytos picks up a gem.
Oh. Wait, did Bambo have the gem?
No, he bought one.
Okay, he bought one. Okay, I was curious if Bambo like fed a gem there, but you know, really good job from Kinguin looking for these kills. It looks like they'll lose their bottom tier 2 for it. They'll trade it for the top tier 1. I mean, Kinguin's starting to get their ultimates up again, so they're probably pretty confident going for tower pushing. Instead, they'll reset. Probably don't want HellRaisers to push the bottom tier 3 for free, but I imagine in the next minute or so, Kinguin are going to try to look for a pick-off with their Batrider in their next, and maybe go for a big objective like a tier 3.
Side of HellRaisers, they got to be a little bit more concerned with where they're positioned. I feel like Milan's been picked off a couple times just pushing. Sexy Bambo in the jungle by himself numerous times. I feel like they're just farming for the sake of farming and then not realizing that there's a Nyx here that could probably be right under your nose.
Well, they're farming for the sake of farming because I don't think they think their lineup can do anything except go for farm and pickoffs. And
over mid, Spike Carapace comes out onto the Crystal Maiden. The fissure will hit. Infest will be popped. Global silence is there, but not in time to save Kasor. So they've already got this kill, and HR, they did pop the Infest, so I don't know if they're going to try and blink forward and chase, but the rest of Kinguin will retreat.
I think they can try to go for the mid tier 2, or at least try to go for a kill even without the Infest, because Global Silence was expended, and that's one of the big spells that they have to be worried about, so... I mean, for now they're splitting up and farming, but I think they're going to look for an opening in the next little bit with the Earthshaker setting up top. And, you know, they're stuck farming because I think they feel like they need a lot of items to win the game, like a lot more. Their timing, the timing of their lineup is a lot later than Kinguin, so they're actually okay with a scenario where they're just farming everywhere on the map, even if, as long as they're not getting picked off. And, you know, they're not getting picked off right now. They were pretty preemptive with their smoke there, catching the Nyx that was about to scout them out. And so, you know, I think they're just waiting for this lifestealer and this Mirana to be so farmed that the enemy team will have difficulty dealing with them. The only question on my mind is whether or not this Broodmother pick will pay off for them, because she is 0-6-0 right now. Not a very impressive score.
Yeah, I haven't really, it's been, at least in my eyes, and this could be a little bit harsh, 4v5. Bambo's just been farming the entire time. He hasn't really been involved in any of these fights. I just...
You could say he's the reason why they're up for, or they've taken 4 towers or 5 towers. I mean, most Broodmother games look something like this. You know, ideally she'd have a kill or an assist, but you know, it's really the map control she buys in the first 20 minutes of the game that... Oh, up top.
Well, up top, Lasso, Reaper Scythe, Kaiser, again, caught out of position.
So what had happened is Kaiser was throwing an arrow to scout, and the Nyx ate the arrow with Carapace, which resulted in a stun. So really good play by the Nyx assassin there.
Purposefully being a magnet for arrow.
Yeah. And that's what makes Nyx such a unique hero. I mean, against certain heroes, he does so well, especially heroes like Mirana or Puck, where you can just walk into the orb or the arrow, stun the target, and then your team can follow up.
So they do also have this Radiance. Again, Nyx setting up on Sexy Bambo, looking for that stun. Will find it. And now 0-7-0.
Not quite 007.
No.
But, you know, that puts Kinguin in a position to push as well. They still have the lasso coming up soon, I believe. 20 seconds, so it'll be up by the time Broodmother and Mirana are up. So HellRaisers kind of have to watch their positioning. Unfortunately, they've lost both of their split pushing heroes, so it's not like they can split push their way out of this this situation. And I think this will be Rax.
I mean, no Mirana or Broodmother for 20 seconds at least. This could be another tier 3. They might even go for a bottom set of racks. Nobody's defending yet. Meanwhile, up top, they're pushing themselves, but just 33 in Milan. It'll be interesting to see if they get a tier 3 tower up top. How long Kinguin are going to commit to this. So they lose the tower. There's the lasso. Crystal Maiden deleted off this map, and that's 2 sets of racks, pretty much.
And they only lose the tier 3 for it. So now, Kinguin, 1k net worth ahead, in a really comfortable position. You know, HellRaisers, I don't think their lineup has kicked in yet. The Lifestealer is going to need his Manta. He's going to need like an Assault Cuirass to buff up his armor. He's probably going to want an Abyssal so he can actually lock someone down to kill them. And so HellRaisers, you know, they're a long way away from being in a position to win this game, assuming that Kinguin don't throw a fight, because Kinguin, their team fight's a lot stronger. If both of these teams went on a 5-on-5 fight, I believe Kinguin would win like 9 out of 10 times. And so HellRaisers, they're stuck with the farming game, split pushing game, whereas Kinguin, they're pretty comfortable. They just have to get their lanes out, possibly go for pickoffs, but definitely like if they just go for Roche, I think they just win the game. And so HellRaisers have to be careful not to let Kinguin get in that position.
Does BKB change the game for if it's picked up on Sexy Bambo? Like, is that the item he needs where he can finally try and fight?
It's hard to say.
Ooh, they're going to try and come in on this as Sexy Bambo still in the Roche pit. He's going to be lassoed up, and that's thanks to the gem on the Bat Rider. Reaper Scythe dead again is Sexy Bambo. You take a look on the back end of this fight. They haven't found anything just yet. Milan extends his life with that Yules. Maybe they turn it around. Oh, God, that Echo Slam again, just not where it needs to be, and this is going to cause HellRaisers to be in a bit of trouble. You look at 33, he's trying to survive as the Moonlight Shadow is out, but again, they still have a gem. 33, he's going to be taken out of this fight. They look towards getting themselves Kaiser. He'll get queened up by Exotic Deer, and it's a 3-for-1, and looking like it's just going to be Roche for Kinguin.
Yeah, definitely a really well executed team fight from Kinguin. They only lose the Nyx, but you know, when both teams just walk into each other, I think that's the result that's going to happen. And so HellRaisers, if they want to win a fight, they have to go for like an instant pick-off on this Necrophos with the Earshaker and the Lifestealer. Unfortunately for them, there's really not a lot they can do about the Global Silence, and this Necrophos is really tanky to begin with. 26 armor sitting with a Plate Mail Radiance.
So Earthshaker, it doesn't look like he'll be able to get out of here. He's dead. And Milan killed off again by Kesor. It's now a 6,000 net worth lead for the side of Kinguin. All they have left is J4 fighting against Super Creeps, and he's losing.
Yeah, pretty sad CM life. I mean, if she had her ulti, she could blow it all up, but she used it during that fight. And so Kinguin, you know, they're in a position to push now. All of their lanes are pushed out, actually. They're pushing into the enemy's base, and so they're probably going to push this tier 2 and then decide whether or not, hey, should we just hit the tier 3 or should we wait for Global Silence? Because the Global Silence is up in 20 seconds, and it pretty much guarantees their victory in this team fight, unless HellRaisers pull off a spectacular base defense.
So they go for this last tier 3, and they're going to look to get Mega Creeps. Items coming out on both sides. They're really both looking to defend, and it's really the life of HellRaisers on the line. And already 33 down to about half health. BKB is going to be popping around the horn. They're going to get the lasso out on the Broodmother, and now the Global Silence is going to follow that up. They got the Reaper Scythe to come down on Kaiser. Dead for 77 seconds. No buyback. This is the first time Sexy Bambo will fight. It is ugly, and he will not be able to do anything with it. GG call by HellRaisers as they lose J4. They lose Milan, and 33 will be the last survivor of a Team Kinguin victory. Just Mirana looked good there that game for the side of HellRaisers, but Sexy Bambo on that Brood 0-9-0. Just very disappointing. More deaths than the Crystal Maiden.
Yep. I mean, after that musical chairs, I think Kinguin sort of it looked like they were behind. They were behind in gold, but Hellraisers lineup was sort of on it, and their players were sort of on a different wavelength. I think the way Hellraisers wanted to play was to make sure that Kinguin was never in a position to push, and in order to do that, they had to split push hard. They had to not give up any kills, and they had to go for kills of their own. But Kinguin, they played really well. They always had. They were always taking the initiative on these kills. So even when Hellraiser smoked, Kinguin was always one step ahead, and I think they just really, even though they were getting out farmed for certain parts of the game, I think they played their lineup really well and just ended the game off of it.
Yeah, Nisha 14-3, Exotic Deer 5-0. They all played together so well there, and that was one of the questions I had earlier, was how their chemistry was going to be, being, at least to my knowledge, a newer team. And they looked very good there. They looked like they were on point with everything, and maybe they could even steal this series from what appears to be the favorites, HellRaisers, and win this series 2-0 coming up next with Game 2. So Team Kinguin, they have a 1-0 lead over HellRaisers. We'll be back in just a moment for Game 2. I'm your caster, B-Cop, joined here by Franz at BCop92 on Twitter for myself, at HelloFranz for him. And follow us on Twitch, Twitter, all that. No one we're streaming, no one we're casting, and we'll be back with the next game in just a moment. Thank you guys for watching.
World Electronic Sports Games returns with a new season. The